59. The Second Dance Song.
We've heard Zarathustra waxing lyrical, expressing his love for his soul, not out loud, but in his inner world. It ended with him ordering his soul to sing, and here we get to the song. Again, this is all happening in his inner world, and the song is going to describe a vision.
1. Into thine eyes gazed I lately, O life. Gold saw I gleam in thy night eyes. My heart stood still with delight. A golden bark saw I gleam on darkened waters, a sinking, drinking, re-blinking golden swing bark.
The chapter is called The Second Dance Song. What was the first dance song? We remember. It was the chapter called The Dance Song, which took place in the Happy Isles. In that song, Zarathustra introduced another character into the book, Life itself, which appeared to him as a woman and spoke to him. He was trying to capture her essence, to understand the rules governing her, but she laughed at him for doing so and said she was completely chaotic, ever-changing, with no rules. He didn't believe her, but when he looked into her eyes, they were unfathomable to him. Well, now he feels that he managed to get to the bottom of life, and when he looks into her eyes, he sees beauty. He sees her as a golden vessel, traveling over the chaotic water. Recall that in the previous chapter, The Great Longing, he spoke of a golden vessel, which contains what every living thing wants the most, a vessel that will glide over the sea of longing, and take us towards the vintager. We didn't understand the metaphor then, but now we realize that he feels that with his new philosophy, he turned the direction of earthly life towards happiness.
At my dance-frantic foot dost thou cast a glance, a laughing, questioning, melting, thrown glance. Twice only movedst thou thy rattle with thy little hands, then did my feet swing with dance fury. My heels reared aloft, my toes they hearkened, thee they would know, hath not the dancer his ear in his toe?
Zarathustra sings that life moved her rattle twice. I think he is talking about the two major spiritual crises he underwent during the story. He overcame the first by rearranging his philosophy around the ideas of self-surpassing and will to power, and overcame the second by rearranging his philosophy around the idea of the eternal return. In both times, he achieved self-surpassing, which allowed him to dance his way out of the crisis and reconnect with the rhythms of life.
Unto thee did I spring, then fledst thou back from my bound, and towards me waved thy fleeing, flying tresses round. Away from thee did I spring, and from thy snaky tresses, then stoodst thou there half-turned, and in thine eye caresses.
Here he dramatizes his existentialist quest, describing it as a continuous act of courtship. He tries to connect with earthly life, live it to its fullest. But whenever he attempts to capture her essence, she slips away from him. If he tries to turn his back on her, however, she immediately seduces him back, as he realizes nothing can compare to her. We have witnessed these dynamics throughout the story.
With crooked glances dost thou teach me crooked courses. On crooked courses learn my feet crafty fancies. I fear thee near, I love thee far. Thy flight allureth me, thy seeking secureth me. I suffer, but for thee what would I not gladly bear? For thee, whose coldness inflameth, whose hatred misleadeth, whose flight enchaineth, whose mockery pleadeth. Who would not hate thee, thou great bindress, inwindress, temptress, seekress, findress? Who would not love thee, thou innocent, impatient, wind-swift, child-eyed sinner?
This is what happens when you turn earthly life into your ideal. Your ideal is an ever-changing one, which means that your philosophy must ever change as well, if it wants to continue to capture the ideal. It is a never-ending dance, a courtship, getting together, breaking up, and then starting all over again, with all the feelings that come along with such a turbulent relationship.
Whither pullest thou me now, thou paragon and tomboy? And now foolest thou me, fleeing, thou sweet romp, dost annoy. I dance after thee, I follow even faint traces lonely. Where art thou? Give me thy hand, or thy finger only.
In his vision, life is now escaping him, making him chase her. It's all part of the dance.
Here are caves and thickets, we shall go astray. Halt! Stand still! Seest thou not owls and bats in fluttering fray? Thou bat, thou owl, thou wouldst play me foul? Where are we? From the dogs hast thou learned thus to bark and howl. Thou gnashest on me sweetly with little white teeth. Thine evil eyes shoot out upon me, thy curly little mane from underneath.
He goes after her, all the while continuing to both curse her and court her. Life has dark sides, wild sides, and ugly sides, but the good sides make it all worthwhile.
This is a dance over stock and stone. I am the hunter. Wilt thou be my hound, or my chamois anon? Now beside me, and quickly, wickedly springing, now up and over. Alas, I have fallen myself over-swinging. O see me lying, thou arrogant one, and imploring grace. Gladly would I walk with thee in some lovelier place.
The chase continues, and he mentions that he sometimes stumbles and falls. This is all a metaphor for the entire book, in which he was chasing earthly life, and trying to synchronize with its changes and rhythms. Life kept escaping him, though, and a couple of times we even saw him stumble.
In the paths of love, through bushes variegated, quiet, trim, or there along the lake where goldfishes dance and swim. Thou art now a-weary? There above are sheep and sunset stripes. Is it not sweet to sleep? The shepherd pipes. Thou art so very weary? I carry thee thither. Let just thine arm sink. And art thou thirsty? I should have something, but thy mouth would not like it to drink.
Life grew tired of the chase, and he finally caught up with her. This symbolizes what happened when he came up with his new worldview, revolving around the eternal return, with which, he feels, he finally found a way to eternally connect to her. He wants to carry her to a beautiful place where they can celebrate their communion. But he is not sure if she will like what he has to offer.
O that cursed, nimble, supple serpent and lurking witch, where art thou gone? But in my face do I feel through my hand 2 spots and red blotches itch. I am verily weary of it, ever thy sheepish shepherd to be, thou which, if I have hitherto sung unto thee, now shalt thou cry unto me. To the rhythm of my whip shalt thou dance and cry. I forget not my whip, not I.
Well, we all remember where this metaphor comes from. When we analyzed Old and Young Women, I told you there is more to it than meets the eye. In that dialogue, Zarathustra likened women to life, with its ever-changing nature. Man, he said, is more stable, because he goes deeper and finds the rules behind the ever-changing reality. The woman craves order, and wants to obey a man who can impose his order on her. The old lady he is talking to agrees, and says she has a present to give him, a little truth, that when you go to women, you should not forget your whip. That depiction of the man-woman dynamics, we now realize, was also meant as a metaphor for Zarathustra's relationship with life. He was chasing her throughout the book, and now he finally found a way to gain control over her. Life tries to resist, slaps him on both cheeks, but he did not forget his whip. He announces that he is going to whip her, which here means not only control, but also that he is going to whip all the juice out of her, enjoy her to the fullest.
2. Then did life answer me thus, and kept thereby her fine ears closed. O Zarathustra, crack not so terribly with thy whip. Thou knowest surely that noise killeth thought, and just now there came to me such delicate thoughts.
Life asks Zarathustra to calm down. This is a tender moment between them, and he doesn't need the whip, or to make so much noise.
We are both of us genuine ne'er-do-wells and ne'er-do-ills. Beyond good and evil found we our island and our green meadow, we two alone. Therefore must we be friendly to each other. And even should we not love each other from the bottom of our hearts, must we then have a grudge against each other if we do not love each other perfectly?
By going beyond good and evil, Zarathustra got closer to life than anyone else. There is no good and evil for life. All aspects of her are part of her, and she accepts them all, as does Zarathustra. She points out that even if they don't always jive together, they are still lovers, and should be happy with that.
And that I am friendly to thee, and often too friendly, that knowest thou. And the reason is that I am envious of thy wisdom. Ah, this mad old fool, wisdom. If thy wisdom should one day run away from thee, then would also my love run away from thee quickly.
In the dance song, Zarathustra described both life and his wisdom as two women who fight for his affection and are jealous of each other. They are also very similar, which is why he can understand life so well. If he somehow loses his wisdom, he will also lose this special connection to life.
Thereupon did life look thoughtfully behind and around, and said softly, O Zarathustra, thou art not faithful enough to me. Thou lovest me not nearly so much as thou sayest. I know thou thinkest of soon leaving me. There is an old, heavy, heavy booming clock. It boometh by night up to thy cave. When thou hearest this clock strike the hours at midnight, then thinkest thou between 1 and 12 thereon. Thou thinkest thereon, O Zarathustra, I know it, of soon leaving me.
Midnight hour approaches. This is the hour when Zarathustra thinks his deepest thoughts, and life fears that their love will come tumbling down. She says that at that time, he thinks about leaving her. He is thinking about his upcoming, inevitable death.
Yea, answered I, hesitatingly, but thou knowest it also. And I said something into her ear, in amongst her confused, yellow, foolish tresses. Thou knowest that, O Zarathustra? That knoweth no one? And we gazed at each other and looked at the green meadow, o'er which the cool evening was just passing, and we wept together. Then, however, was life dearer unto me than all my wisdom had ever been. Thus spake Zarathustra.
Zarathustra admits that he is indeed going to die and leave her, but then he whispers a secret in her ear. Obviously, he promises her that they will meet again, by this lake, and have this happy moment again, and keep doing so forever and ever, in the eternal return. Life is startled, because she didn't think that any human knew about this, and she realizes that this means that he will never leave her. And then, just for a moment, they finally achieve the full unification that Zarathustra always wanted. Just then, however, the bell strikes midnight.
3.
In the third and final part of this chapter, Zarathustra is going to sing another song, in a more conventional form. The song has 11 lines, chiming in perfectly with the bell.
1. O man, take heed. 2. What saith deep midnight's voice indeed? 3. I slept my sleep. 4. From deepest dream I've woke and plead.
Zarathustra tells us that he fell into deep sleep, probably referring to the week in which he was unconscious. During that week, a new insight came to him, the kind of a deep insight that can come only in the midnight hour, when there's no one else around, when your eyes can't see anything, and you have to transcend the senses to achieve knowledge. It is then that you reach the most profound understandings.
5. The world is deep. 6. And deeper than the day could read.
During the day, you see clearly, and you see that earthly life is beautiful, but temporary. His midnight insight, however, realizes that the world goes deeper than that. Because of the eternal return, because the world repeats its history again and again, earthly life is not temporary, but eternal.
7. Deep is its woe. 8. Joy deeper still than grief can be.
This is Zarathustra's deepest, most profound message, the main reason why this book was written. Yes, he admits, earthly life is full of woe and suffering, like its haters claim, but it also contains joy, and the deepest joy goes deeper than the deepest woe, meaning that it is more powerful than any suffering.
9. Woe saith, hence, go.
When you experience woe, you want to escape earthly life, and most philosophies are philosophies of escape, or philosophies that falsely claim to be able to eliminate suffering. These, however, are not the right ways to deal with woe.
10. But joys all want eternity.
But when you experience joy, you want it to last forever. And then, the realization that the world is deeper, that life eternally returns, is an intoxicating, powerful experience. You become one with the world, one with earthly life.
11. Want deep, profound eternity.
You accept eternity, with all its aspects, including all the woe that it will bring you, because it is all necessary to get you to this joyful place, and this joy is worth it all. Your loving unity with life is complete.
12.
In the midnight hour, Zarathustra reaches the apex of his story. He is in the heart of happiness, experiencing the ultimate joy. He achieved full unity with the universe, with the eternity of time. There's only one more chapter left, in which he will certify this union, and put a ring on it.